being Indian, anytime I'd be like, "Oh, Dad, can I get a video game system?" He'd be like, "Video games, you need to study." So like one time, my aunt bought me a Game Boy, and I'd play that Game Boy all the time. And then, not the same aunt, another aunt bought me a Nintendo 64. She got me the golden edition Toys R Us exclusive Nintendo 64. So when I got the Nintendo 64, one day I was like, oh, let me go play my Game Boy, let me go play Pokemon. I got tired of the N64. So I'm looking all around the house and I can't find my Game Boy anywhere. And my dad was like, oh, you should take better care of your stuff. So I didn't want to tell him, I'm like, oh, Dad, I lost my Game Boy. He was going to get mad. Even though he didn't buy it, he would get really mad. So I eventually can't find it and I tell him, like, Dad, I can't find my Game Boy. And he's like, oh, I gave it to someone in India. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I gave it to someone in India. And I was like, you didn't even tell me if you get. He's like, yeah, you don't need it. You don't play it anymore. So I'm like, well, who'd you give it to? I was like thinking in my head, he gave it to a cousin or some family member. He's like, oh, I gave it to some random guy. So you're telling me you gave it to someone you don't know? Yeah, he could use it. You don't even use it. So one day we went to Costco and there was the PS2 Slim. And I was like, Dad, can I get a PS2? And it was on sale, so he's like, okay, fine, you can get it. But it goes in the living room. I didn't have a TV in my room anyways. So then I put the Nintendo 64 in the closet. I was like, gold is my favorite color. I still love the N64, but I'm not going to be playing it, so I'll just leave it in here, for when I'm older. And ever since that, gold has been my favorite color. So one day I go in the closet and I'm like, oh, let me play the N64 because me and my friends were trying to play GoldenEye. I go in the closet, I open it, and I can't find the N64. So I'm like, Dad, where's my Nintendo 64? And he's like, oh, I gave it to my friend. I was like, what? You gave my Nintendo 64, the gold edition, limited edition Toys R Us, to your friend? He's like, yeah, I gave it to my friend. You didn't use it. He didn't sell this item. He just gave it to his friend. He saw it one day. He's like, oh, I should give this to my friend. That same console online is going for $1,000. One time, I got hella happy. I came home from school and there was a Nintendo Wii brand new on the counter. They were like all sold out. I was like, Dad, you got us a Wii? I was happy because I didn't have the 360, a PS2. And he's like, no, this is for my friend. I got it at a discount. I'm going to give it to him. So I was like, oh, he's just joking. He's going to give it to... No, it was actually for his friend. He did the same thing. One time he came home with a 360. And I got so excited. And he's like, this is for my friend in Chicago.